Hi, everybody. You are listening to the Procure Smarter podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sharon Cook. I am your host for this episode and every episode. And this is sponsored by the Procure Smart Purchasing Agency. If you have a renovation, new construction, or conversion that you're working on, please reach out to us. We would love to talk to you about how we can provide FF&E services. Okay, today we are talking to Matt Ward. He is an expert in getting word of mouth referrals. He believes that if we can do business with who we know, who we like, who we care about, we will generate more referrals and enjoy our work much more. It's going to be a great episode. Stay tuned, everybody. Hi, everybody. We are back with Mr. Matt Ward. He is so funny. All right. We are going to talk about his word of mouth referrals. But Matt, before we get into the need for referrals, I would like to hear about your journey and how you got into this sector of coaching. And because I am a diehard comedian wannabe, tell me about that too.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. I greatly appreciate it, Sharon. I'm super excited to be here and talk to your Procure Smarter purchasing peeps. Really excited about that. And so, so my journey was very interesting. I volunteered for a Pop Warner youth football team. They said, we got to do some things to improve the organization. I said, how about we get a website? They said, great, good idea, go do it. I said, I don't know anything. They said, not our problem. So I outsourced it to somebody I was working in a full-time job with. Outsourced it meaning they volunteered. And turned out I started a web company. My first paying client was Neshoba Pop Warner. They paid me $500 to do a website. I went and bought a template for $50, changed the logo and gave them a website. I was like, wait, I could do this and make $450? It's pretty good. I outsourced my first job like that. I built this thing part-time. And then that was in 2002. In 2005, I took it full time, and I never looked back. I've been self-employed since 2005. I had a design agency for 16 years and sold it for over $1 million to a guy I met in a networking group. I basically built great relationships throughout that process. And I sold it in 2018 and became a full-time professional speaker, traveling the country, speaking about how to get referrals in your business. I wrote a book on it in 2019. I did 35 speaking gigs all over the country.
Wow.
Audience sizes of all types, from like 4 people. One time I showed up and there were like 4 people in the room, and I'm like, that's how much value I bring, folks.
Calm down, people.
Yeah, calm down. All my fans are in one room all together. And you, 3 of you were paid to be here probably. And then I spoke to larger crowds, 2,000, 3,000 people. Big conferences, service-based industry conferences, things like that. I had never been to New Orleans in my life, and I went twice in 5 days in 2019. Then COVID hit, and I said, okay, well, I can't speak anymore because there's no conferences, not much flight travel at the time. And so I started doing more online stuff. So I started doing coaching, and I do one-on-one and group coaching. I focus right now on my group coaching program, where we bring together people for 2 hours on a 2-hour call once a month and talk about referrals and what are you doing to get referrals and how are you building relationships and all that stuff. So long and the short of it, Sharon, is I teach people how to care about other people so that you stand out. It's the best 4-letter word in the industry.
And that's not an easy task to do. Like I read that you said you like to work with people you trust and you care about, and if you do that, you will generate referrals.
Yeah, so we have learned, business professionals, we've been told time and time again that people do business with who they know, like, and trust. But the reality is I don't believe that. I believe that people do business with who they know, like, trust, and care about. That the caring component is the biggest thing. And simply put, Sharon, how do you outrun a bear?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't. You outrun your friend.
That's right.
So you always bring someone camping with you who is slower, okay, or got a bum leg. Maybe they're, in a cast or bad ankle. In business, how do you get referrals? How do you get more business? Is you outrun your bear, which is outrunning the competition. The way you outrun the competition is you stay top of mind by just touching base with people on a more consistent basis. right? So
Right.
you and I both know that when you ask clients, your purchasing peeps, why they use you, customer service, no, that's a bunch of BS, right? That's not why. Pricing, probably not why. Usually the number one reason is they can't get hold of their current provider.
Mm-hmm.
It's the number one reason. It's the reason why everybody chose us in the web company, because they could pick anybody, but people wouldn't call them back because people's systems and processes aren't set up properly. But guess what? You don't have to call people back if you're actually reaching out proactively. And that's the big game-changing difference. And so how do you do that? Is it emails? Yes. Is it handwritten cards? Oh my gosh, yes. Handwritten cards. Powerful tool to get referrals. Sending text messages, sending Facebook messages to people who are Facebook friends with you that are in business. LinkedIn messages, all of these things, just staying in touch. Because if you stay in touch more than the next person, you win that business long term.
Right.
You also show that you care about them, right? Because now you might have found out that they got COVID. Hey, are you feeling better? Like, that's not a sales call. That's not a sales contact. That's a true, I care. Are you feeling better?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just bought a Jeep yesterday. It says second edition to my life. I've been trying to get my man card back. So, so I bought a Jeep. And so, like, if someone knows I bought a Jeep, like 3 weeks later, they might say, hey, how you enjoying the Jeep? Not, hey, you want to buy insurance from me?
Yeah.
But if you're an insurance agent and you ask me how I'm enjoying my Jeep, you might get my Jeep insurance renewal the next time it comes around.
So listen, this is fascinating because as a buyer, I see in a year's time hundreds of suppliers, right? And I can usually see a sales pitch coming a mile away. The people that come to me and are like, remembered that I had children, remembered it was my daughter's wedding, remembered that, I was going to Belize for the summer, who ask those personal questions, I always spend more time with. I connect with them.
Yeah. Because it's not a transaction, it's a true relationship.
Yeah.
Did you go to Belize?
I did.
Did you go scuba diving?
And I know that scares me. I'm
a certified scuba diver. I love it. I went scuba diving last week in Roatan, Honduras.
I've been to Roatan.
Yeah, I went on a cruise ship. I got off the cruise ship in Roatan on the day of port, and I went scuba diving.
I'm a huge cruiser. We've been to Roatan on a cruise ship. Yeah.
This week I'm going on my fourth one this year.
Get out of here!
I'm like a cruise hacker. I do it for almost free. I do it like I don't pay hardly any money to get on these boats.
I am leaving May 2nd for Alaska.
Oh yeah, I got an offer to get on Alaska.
Yeah.
I have an offer right now for $25, I think, for Alaska.
$25?
Yeah.
What do you have to sleep in the engine room?
No.
You got to serve dinner? What's the
No, casino offer.
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody's like, oh, you spend a lot of money in casino. Nope.
Yeah.
I take $300. That's it.
That's nice.
I use their money to make it look like I spend a lot of money.
I love to cruise. We love everything about it.
And I never pay for a drink on a cruise ship.
Now, I do get that offer because of the casino. You
casino drinks, right?
Yeah, you get the casino drink.
You just have to stock them up for the days when the casino's not open. I'll tell everybody all my tricks.
I will.
I was gonna maybe build an online course for cruise hacking.
That's what you should do. Yeah. We love. Yeah, I love.
But so I'm a big believer in I built my life in a way that I can live with freedom and in my book that I wrote in 2021. I wrote it for people because I feel like business owners came out of corporate world, started their own business. They wanted three things: more money, more time, and more freedom. And they got none of that. Like, you just don't get that early on. And so this book helps them achieve that. The book is called The High Five Effect: How to Do Business with People Who Bring You Joy. And I talk about what is joy to you. To me, joy is freedom. And I define freedom as doing what I want, when I want, where I want, and how I want. And that means when I go on a cruise, I buy the internet package for $100. And I will do Zoom calls. I will do client coaching calls. I recorded a podcast interview from the middle of the ocean last week. It was actually a Facebook Live through StreamYard, and it worked perfectly.
That's awesome.
But I also don't do that a lot. I I'm very specific. And somebody said to me once, well, you really got it all mapped out. And I'm like, I don't know
Mhm.
about that. But I will tell you this. Freedom is a distinct choice to not allow people to steal your time. Freedom is a
Mm.
distinct choice to not allow people to steal your time. And when you finally get to the point where you won't allow bad clients to steal your time, bad business partners to steal your time, you will start to make more money. You will start to build better relationships with the right people. You will start to get a lot more referrals. It's all of that around this caring idea that if we care about other people, it all pays off in the long run. Play the long game. When we play the long game, we're not trying to sell. When we're trying to sell, people don't like that. Right? We're humans. We love to buy. Just look at Amazon.
Mhm.
But we despise being sold to. Look
Mm.
at cold calls, spam mail, right? Junk mail in your mailbox. But you go to your mailbox today and you pull out that junk mail, and then there's a oddly sized envelope in there. It's the size of a handwritten card. That's the first thing you will open before anything else. And you will most likely keep that handwritten card. And people aren't using the handwritten card enough. I tell people all the time, you got to go from the inbox to the mailbox. It's
That's
powerful.
really good. Yeah, it's really powerful. It's really good stuff. I when I started this company, my daughter is my financial guru, and she said, "Mom, it's a digital world. You know, you have to. People don't want." It was a whole conversation in our house because I wanted to send out some sort of gift basket. She's like, "Mom, nobody wants your gift basket." But listening to you, it's like people do want my gift basket.
They don't want, she's right and she's not right. What they don't want is junk.
Yeah.
And they don't want your junk. They don't want your promotion. What they do want is to know that you cared about them. If you're going to send out a basket, especially to me, it better be full of bacon. And I'm
Deal.
telling you right now, I joke about that all the time. And no kidding,
Nobody.
once a month, someone sends me bacon. And I'm a super happy dude about it. Somebody sent me a bacon box. Beth Blaney. Shout out to Beth Blaney. She sent me a bacon box. Now, she sent it because I had referred somebody or she got some business or something, but you don't always have to have a reason like that. You can just say, have it be just because. Like this week, I had my ground rules for businesses. You might say, my ground rules for my business is this week I got to send one box out to somebody, one care package box. What is that? Let me pick somebody. Oh, John Doe. Okay, what is John Doe like? Ohio State Buckeyes. Okay, let me go online. Buy John Doe a hat from like lids.com. That's an Ohio State hat. Have it shipped to my house. Repack that in a box. Put a handwritten note in it and mail it to John. Boom. Impact. Does John even need to be a customer? Nope. Could he be a great referral partner? Sure. Does any of that matter? Nope. Because it makes you a happier person, which means that's going to rub off on more people too.
Good. I mean, it's really good. It's really good stuff.
Sharon, one of the best things I ever did years ago, I had a podcast with my good friend Dan Candell. It's called the Square Peg Round Hole Podcast.
Okay.
We should have never stopped it. It was a great name. But we did it for 100 plus episodes. It was about helping people take massive action in business. And we had the guy from, his name was Shannon the Cannon Hudson on the podcast. He is the founder of 9 Round Fitness Franchise, which is a boxing franchise similar to Curves for Women. But it's a boxing thing. You go up, you show up, you do the circuit, and then you're done. And everybody, when you join, gets a moniker, and his was the Cannon. And so he's telling us how he scaled to 100 stores or 100 franchise locations in 3 months. And we're interviewing not on Zoom or anything. We're interviewing on Skype. It's audio, and he can't see me. And he's like, I'm in the fitness business, fitness. And finally he says, Shannon, I get you can't see me. Fitness, I'm a big dude. That doesn't really fit my vocabulary. I'm kind of a big guy. I mean, I weigh in at like 350. That's a big dude, right? So I said, fitness not really fitting in my vocabulary. Well, actually, it is when I'm fitting this whole pizza in my mouth. So I love pizza.
Ba-bum.
People who listen to me, they know that. When the podcast came out, I called Domino's in Greenville, South Carolina, and I ordered a pizza to be delivered to his house. And I called them and I said, I want you to write on the inside of the cover of the pizza box, thanks for coming on the podcast. Hope you fitness pizza in your mouth. And they delivered it. They sent me a text message with the picture and everything. It's the best $18 I ever spent. I don't even know if they ate the pizza. I don't even know if he got it. There was no response. He never gave me business. He wasn't a client. He wasn't a referral source. It didn't matter. I took that picture and put it in my PowerPoint for my keynote. I've been telling that story for 4 years.
That's amazing. Do you know I'm from Greenville, South Carolina? I'm
Really?
literally
And you say and you said it as Greenville? It's Greenville.
Greenville. Well,
I
I'm a
went there
West
for like
Virginia
7
girl,
days
so
one time. It's such a great town. I went to the Rotary group there one time. It was such a great town.
Yeah. I'm a West Virginia girl at heart, so everything I say has a little bit of hillbilly in it, but it's to me it's Greenville,
Awesome.
Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville, South Carolina. Yeah, it's great. So like you do things like this and they just up level your own joy. And then it's just what you bring to the world. Now you want to talk about the humor. So I invested in myself as a professional speaker, and one of the best things you can do is go to improv class. And the number one rule in improv is yes and. You don't disagree with somebody, you just keep adding on. Yes and, yes and, yes and. It's the number one rule in improv. And I used to always tell people I am situationally funny. I might be able to do stand-up someday and have a whole bit ironed out and figured it out. But I just constantly work on it. And one of the best things I ever did early on when I became a professional speaker was I would craft my jokes, but I didn't know if they were going to work. And the last thing I want to do is get on stage to 1,000 people and see if my jokes are funny. I don't want to bomb in front of 1,000 people.
Right.
So where do I get the stage? I could go to stand-up, but that's was too intimidating for me. I might bomb there as well, right? What did I do, Sharon? I drove my pickup truck for Uber in Boston. Picked up people, found ways to get into the conversation where I could drop the one-liners and see if I got laughs. And it worked. So one of my lines is that I grew up in Hershey. And if you've ever been to Hershey, then you know that the two cool things about Hershey. The first one is wrapped and unwrapped streetlights that look like Hershey Kisses. And they painted them that color. They look awesome. And the second thing is, it smells like chocolate. It smells like chocolate. I mean, I smelled that stuff every day. How do you think I got this big? I gained a pound every day just breathing. That joke came from rehearsing it in my truck with Uber passengers all the time. And the timing of it is really what came. I had the line, but it wasn't working. It wasn't where I would tweak the timing of it. And then I tweaked it even more and even more. And then I'd have other one-liners. And then when people would say stuff, I'd come back at them and back at them. So now when someone from the audience says something, I can come back at them and I can get a good laugh out of it. It's a muscle. You gotta practice it and build it up, and that's all it is. And that's where my humor comes from. I don't know if I'd be any good at stand up. Maybe someday. I got a Subway bit I'm working on to see how that works. Subway sandwiches.
That's so funny. So about 10 years ago, I did an open mic night. It was the scariest thing I'd ever done in my entire life. So when you say like the biggest fear would be a heckler. Like if a heckler had got me, I would have burst into tears and just like.
I mean, why would a heckler heckle an open mic night? I should go to see what open mic night is all about. I don't even know. Do you have to have a bit ready to go when you go to open mic?
You do. You have to have 5 minutes, and it's 5 minutes is a lot of time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk for 5 minutes. The question is, will anybody be talking with me?
Right.
And so like the Subway sandwich bit is pretty good. There's nothing worse than going into Subway and trying to order a sandwich. Have you ever tried to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like you want the 12-inch white chicken teriyaki toasted with American cheese, right? And then they say, do you want it toasted? And you're like, yeah, toasted with American cheese. And then they say, would you like cheese with that? I swear they're trained to ask you what type of bread you want 3 times. If you want it toasted 3 times. If you want cheese on it 3 times. And it drives me crazy. It's amazing. you know how anybody might lose any weight in there. You stand in line, you're losing weight, right? So that's my Subway bit. Yeah.
It's very good. Okay, I'm going to circle you back to what you do, which is the art of referral. So let's talk about, why can I not just advertise? Why is referral so important?
Well, I think for the most part, people listening to your podcast would agree that the number one source of new business in their business is, in fact, referrals. They're the ones that tell me that. The problem is that I ask 100 people that question, 100 people raise their hand. Yes, it's referrals. And then I follow up with, but how many of you have a strategy in place to gain more referrals? And
Right.
like one or two people in a room of 100 who raise their hand will keep their hand up. The rest will put it down. Instead, it's much easier to just, I'll build a website, do paid ads, do social media, do Facebook stuff, because it's fun. It's easy. People don't always like the networking. I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert. Oh, that's sales. It's not sales. It's not sales. You just handwrite cards all day. You'll get referrals.
All right. It's a tip I'm going to use because I don't currently handwrite cards, but I'm definitely going to start because of you.
So you need three things to handwrite cards. Number one, you need cards. Buy them on Amazon today. Don't make them about your business. Don't put your business logo on them. Put them up. My cards have my side-by-side ATV on them, so it shows what I'm all about. The second thing, you need stamps. Hey, buy some stamps. 'Cause you can. And then the third thing is you need an address. There's a couple ways to do that. You can find it online usually, but if not, you can just say, what's your current mailing address? That's the proper terminology now, since we're in COVID, people work from home, all this stuff, and we don't know where people are getting their mail. Now, by the way, companies have figured out how to get people their mail now. So we don't have to worry about that whole thing. Oh, if I mail it to the office, they won't get it. No, they'll get it. We figured that out. But just ask current mailing address. That way, if somebody doesn't want to give you their home address because they're worried about security for some reason, they'll give you a mailing address that you can send it like a P.O. box or something like that. And then you just start getting those addresses from people. And then once you have it, act on it. That's the goal.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, you have already covered everything except, what is a pitch slap?
It's that one thing I absolutely dread and despise about LinkedIn. LinkedIn will be good for you in business in many ways. But what is gross about LinkedIn is when someone sends you a connection request and you accept it, and then they immediately message you with a pitch. That, my friend, is a pitch slap.
Got it.
And usually I reply with, this is gross. I'm removing you as a connection. Have a good day.
That's harsh. That's very harsh.
Because I'm just not interested. And it might be like, have you thought about writing a book? Are you kidding me? I wrote 2. I have 2 books out on Amazon. Why would I? Did you even read my profile? This is bots. So LinkedIn has been invaded by bots and people and systems and software that can crawl the system and send messages and send LinkedIn invites and all that stuff. And so it's just not thoughtful, and it really hurts your brand if you're doing that. And so if you're doing that, don't do that. It just connect. Say, how was your day? How was your weekend? Don't go into a sales pitch. Give it time. Build the relationship. What your goal should be on LinkedIn is to move people off of LinkedIn and onto a Zoom call to learn more about them. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It is all excellent advice, Matt. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so happy to have been here and to record with you and to share whatever lack of knowledge I have about anything with your ProcureSmart
Peeps.
podcast peeps. I'm really excited to have done that. And Sharon, again, I'm just honored to be here and share this information. And for anybody out there, who follows me on YouTube, they'll hear it every single time I put out a video. Don't forget to live happy, smile a lot, and high five.
High five.
Everyone around you.
High five. All right. One last thing I forgot to ask. How can people get a hold of you?
My website, mattwardspeaks.com. On every channel out there is Matt Ward Speaks. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Carrier Pigeon.
Nice.
I don't know. Yeah, Matt Ward Speaks is the best way you can find me. MattWardSpeaks.com.
Okay.
And I'm on. I'm everywhere. I'm on there, and I'm happy to reply. You can send me an email. That'll
right.
work as well.